Hi everyone, welcome to Starsight. My name is Samya Vasa. I'm an astrologer and a tarot reader. I'm recording this night of Friday the 13th, and there's a lot of children in my neighborhood playing loudly, so sorry in advance about any kind of disturbance that you hear on the recording. Like many of you, I am steeped into news about Israel and Palestine right now, and so the sounds of happy children in my neighborhood feel like a blessing that I cannot take for granted right now. So I try my best to avoid sounds, but it's kind of hard in my neighborhood, and today I just feel like no, happy kids are something to be valued, and hope that this is something that stays with us through the recording, for all of us to be in touch with the stakes, the true stakes of this eclipse that is going to form in a little over 24 hours. Eclipses are high stakes events. Luckily, they don't always coincide with major international tragedies, but they do often coincide with events and situations in our own life that feel very high stakes. And they are high stakes partly because new information comes into focus that touches something deep within us. It's almost like information comes out of nowhere and throws us off our game. Sometimes it could be an insight within us, like we could have a really vivid dream that reminds us of something that we've forgotten, or that shows us something real that we had no access to, or just allows us to understand something about ourselves at a level that wasn't possible before the dream. Other times it could be external events that take us by surprise. Another thing I've noticed with eclipses is that the difficult event would have happened weeks before the eclipse, or even possibly a month before the eclipse, but something of that difficult event will come to a head at the eclipse. Now, as always, the best way of making use of whatever it is that I'm going to share with you in this talk is to take it in a general way, but also connect it to where Libra is in your chart. What house does Libra occupy in your chart? And that way you'll have specificity in terms of how to utilize these reflections. At a general level, try and relate these insights to any kind of crisis that you're experiencing in your life, even if it has nothing to do with the house topics of Libra in your chart. If at the level of principles or at the level of logic, if these reflections help you understand something of your current life from a different place, that's a great way of using astrology. So, in case you need help with figuring out what house topics Libra occupies in your chart, you can comment your rising sign and I can help you with it. You will have to figure out your rising sign. That I can't help you with, but anyway, just put in a comment if you don't know how to do that. I can help. All right, so solar eclipse in Libra. at the new moon. This lunation is about de-idealization. What does that mean? Now, we all hold a particular set of values. Okay, values could be things like peace, compassion, support, helping each other, honesty. But we express these values, or we connect these values through two ideals. Ideals are usually forms that we create to express our values. Sorry if that sounds too abstract. I'm going to use an example now. So let's say that my value is support and compassion, and I absolutely uphold these values in my friendship. Okay? At a practical level, my ideal is that this means, this value, the way I express it, is going to be, if you need me, I'm going to be there for you. That's my ideal. If you need me, I'm going to be there for you. Now, there could be many ways of expressing this value, but for me, the value of support and compassion, but for me, the ideal is availability. The ideal is, when I ask for you, you're there. When you ask for me, I'm there. Okay? I don't need my friends to be perfect. So let's say that I need to talk to someone right now. I need to vent, I need to cry, I need to share something really hard. I call my friend and they say they're not free at the moment, they have a meeting coming up. I don't expect them to miss the meeting and talk to me. Or if their child is crying, I don't expect that they're going to let the child cry and listen to me. So it's not about perfection, that the ideal has to be met in exactly this way, but there is a particular form that I attach to my value of support and compassion. Okay, so I can make a little bit of adjustment where the friend says to me, I'm really busy right now, but I will call you at exactly 9 p.m. tonight. And I can rely on the friend and I can get myself through the day. And the friend very reliably, consistently calls me when they say they will call me. Or the friend can say, I just do not have the emotional bandwidth to listen to you right now, but I'm cooking a bunch of food. And why don't you come over, and I'm not able to talk, but you can eat with me. Or I'll send food to you. All of these adjustments still conform to my ideal that my friend is there for me. Now, what if this friend is going through a major crisis in their own life? Maybe it's a bad crisis, like someone in their life is hospitalized, or they are dealing with a health issue, or it's a positive kind of crisis where they've gotten married and they've just moved and there's a lot for them to figure out, or it's a new job, or what happens when they are simply not there for me for months and months and months? I am willing to make adjustments at the level of my ideals, right? In the sense that I'm ready to incorporate a lot of different forms in my ideals. But what am I supposed to do when this person is not at all working with me? There is no question here of me coming up with new forms or new possibilities, or me trying to understand, okay, you can't do this, can you do this instead, etc. They're just not there. Perhaps for a good reason, perhaps for a not so good reason. Perhaps they haven't properly communicated with me that they just cannot be with me right now. Maybe they've been an asshole about it. What am I supposed to do then? So this eclipse, when I say it's about de-idealization, it's a moment that forces us to let go of our ideals. Okay. So let's say that I call the friend and I see that they're exhausted. I call them to fight with them, but I see on their face exhaustion. Or I call them to fight with them and I see on their face irritation towards me, or contempt towards me, towards my needs. Both of those things, either their exhaustion or their contempt, both of those things are going to force me to abandon my ideals. Because I'm going to have to consider carefully, even if this person wanted to help me, they can't because they're a limited person. Whatever's happening in their life, it's too much for them. Even if they were an asshole to me, it's too much, whatever's happening in their life. And so instead of holding on to, well, you didn't support me, I'm going to have to really look at reality. Earlier, I was using my ideals to understand reality, like you should be there for me and you aren't. But now I'm going to have to turn that around and see, okay, the reality is you're exhausted. And I have to let go of my ideals. And actually, I have to keep my values alive. I have to be the one who needs to show compassion right now. I am the one who needs to show support to this friend right now by letting them go, by releasing them from my expectations and my needs. Not out of some great goodness of my heart, if that can happen, great, but just simply on the basis of reality. They cannot do this. I have to let them go. And if I will be able to do it, maybe I will have the decades-long friendship that I long for, because I've had the strength to let them go. There is real potential for us to stay friends forever. So, upholding my values but letting my ideals go. Or, flip side, I see contempt on their face. And I understand that, yes, my ideals are they should be there for me, but they can't see me. In their eyes, my needs are not valid. In their eyes, I'm inconveniencing them. And so once again, I have to let my ideals go. That here we are, this person is going to apologize to me. This person is going to understand me. They're not there for whatever reason. They can't see me. And so again, I'm going to have to make decisions based on the reality that I'm now witnessing. And at the level of reality, no matter what kind of friendship we shared in the past, no matter how seen I felt in their presence, right now the reality is they don't. And once again, it is I who need to uphold my values of compassion and support and try my best to let them go from that place. That if you were able to see me in the past and you can't right now, I will hold on to the possibility that something is affecting you badly right now. Something is not okay. Or I could also come to the realization that they never saw me. And once again, to have support and compassion for both of us in that situation, that we misrecognized each other. That perhaps I was in this friendship for all the wrong reasons. They were in this friendship for the wrong reasons. Whether we like it or not, this is a time where we get to witness reality. And it is not pretty. All that we have is our values. We don't have our ideals anymore. So ideals are a kind of conditional relationship to values, Yes, I will support, what we're seeing a lot right now in the world. I will support peace for all if da da da. I will support the freedom of people if da da da. That da 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 is the ideal. I will be kind to everyone. I want everyone to matter. But if they do this, then that is the ideal. It's a conditional relationship to values. And that's where we get all of our notions of justice and fairness. Well, I will be supportive of my friend, but she hasn't been fair to me all of these months. That is what this eclipse is urging us to examine. The conditional relationship to our values. If I consider this person my friend, I will let them go if that's the support they need right now. That's what this eclipse is urging us to do. Let reality emerge, but show a true commitment to your values. Because then that's not justice in a situational sense. If you're fair to me, then I'm fair to you. Then it's justice in a spiritual sense. I hold compassion for others. I support others. Not, I will support you when. I will hold compassion for you if. Then our values become our body. They are no longer simply principles that we use. They are principles we embody. Now this is going to be really hard, as we are already seeing, right? It's really hard to embody your values in an unconditional way. It's really hard to watch your ideals get decimated by the complexity of reality. But this is the bitter medicine of this eclipse. So if you're having any kind of crisis with anyone in your life right now, if you're having this kind of moment of de-idealization with anyone where you had a list of very reasonable complaints towards someone, but you're suddenly seeing like a greater reality that's bigger than your complaints, then that's bigger than your ideals, then I urge you to have patience with yourself Have patience with the other. And this is, I was giving you the friendship example, but this other could be someone who you really think has harmed you. It could be someone who you really consider to be your enemy, someone who you think you shouldn't respect. But this is exactly where you need to bring your values into action. I'm guessing that if you're here, you have the values of respect and peace and compassion for everyone. And so, even with your enemies, right now, get those values up and running in how you present to them. Whatever you need to do to hold fast to those values and letting your ideals go, do that. You're going to need patience. You're going to need gentleness with yourself. Eclipses also take a long time to develop. The events that take place around an eclipse takes around 6 months for you to see the full scope of that event. So if something happens around these days, around the 14th of October for you in your life, that is about de-idealization and seeing reality with new eyes, then give yourself that time. Tell yourself this is going to develop over 6 months. And I'm committed to the process. I'm committed to where this moment takes me. I urge you to figure out what your values are and stay loyal to them. Commit to them. Sacrifice your ideals. Grieve for them. The right thing right now is going to be something you're going to have to do with a great deal. You're going to have to embody it, the right thing, with a great deal of courage. I hope this eclipse is medicinal for you in the right way. I'll talk to you soon.